healthcare system. Not a little weaker, structurally, legally, meaningfully weaker. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on corruption and HIPAA violations in recovery spaces. By the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly what protections exist for people in recovery, what a landmark 2026 enforcement shift actually changes, and what it means when those protections get violated. Joining me to break all of this down is someone who has really dug into the legal and regulatory landscape here. Let's get into it. Walk me in. What are we actually talking about when we say HIPAA violations in recovery spaces?
So let's start with the foundation, because I think a lot of people hear HIPAA and they think it's just about hospitals keeping your records private. But it's much broader than that, and in recovery spaces specifically, it gets layered in ways that most people, including a lot of providers, don't fully understand.
Right, so let's actually define it. What is HIPAA and who does it cover?
HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, was enacted in 1996, and according to LegalForge's 2026 Compliance Guide, it establishes national standards for protecting what's called protected health information, or PHI. That's any individually identifiable health information held or transmitted by a covered entity or its business associates. And PHI isn't just your diagnosis or your treatment plan. It includes your name, your address, your date of birth, your social security number, anything that could identify you when linked to health information.
So it's a pretty wide net.
Very wide. And covered entities under HIPAA include healthcare providers, doctors, clinics, hospitals, psychologists, health plans like insurance companies and HMOs, and healthcare clearinghouses. But it also extends to business associates, which are any organizations that perform functions on behalf of a covered entity and have access to PHI. So that's IT companies managing health records, billing companies, cloud storage providers, even email service providers used for patient communication.
Okay, so a recovery center, a residential treatment facility, a substance use disorder program, they fall squarely under this.
They do. But here's where it gets interesting, and honestly a little alarming. According to an HHS ASP report, residential treatment settings for mental health and substance use disorders are governed almost exclusively by state statutes and regulations rather than federal laws. So the federal floor exists through HIPAA, but the actual day-to-day oversight, that's a patchwork. It looks completely different depending on which state you're in.
Wait, so the rules for a recovery house in one state could be totally different from one across the border?
Exactly. And that inconsistency is part of what creates the conditions for corruption and non-compliance to take root. When oversight is fragmented, accountability gets fragmented too.
That's a really important structural point. But there's also a separate layer of federal protection, specifically for substance use disorder records.